Do you wish it was possible to eat out without sabotaging your health goals? Well, I am here to tell you it is. Whether you're trying to lose weight, balance your blood sugar, or just feel your best, eating healthier doesn't mean always having to skip getting takeout. Welcome to the Nourished with Grace podcast, the podcast that helps women eat and live healthier without obsession or restriction. In this episode, we'll be talking about why eating out can still have a place on your weekly menu and what the best options are. As a dietitian, I have helped hundreds of women eat balanced to improve their health in a way that's simple and realistic, and now I'm sharing those tips with you. So let's dive into today's episode. Now, it's true that if you're eating out for every single meal, it's probably not going to be the best thing for your health. Restaurant food is typically loaded with sodium and saturated fats, no matter where you're going, and these aren't exactly friendly for your heart or helpful when it comes to managing inflammation. Plus, when you're eating out, it's really easy to end up eating more than you normally would. And let's be real, your wallet is definitely going to feel it because eating out isn't exactly cheap these days. Seriously, what happened to value menus that were actually a good deal? That doesn't mean that dining out a couple times a week can't be a part of a balanced, healthy lifestyle. It absolutely can, especially if you're abiding by my 80-20 principle, where 80% of the time you're trying to eat balanced, and then the other 20% you can have a little bit more wiggle room. Sometimes eating out can also be a huge time saver, and let's be honest, there's something really nice about enjoying a meal that you didn't have to cook or clean up after. Plus, it's delicious. So I want to share my top picks for eating out from 5 popular restaurants that won't sabotage your health goals. Let's dive into the first restaurant. So this first restaurant is known for their waffle fries and their signature sauce. Yes, I am talking about Chick-Fil-A. This is one of my favorite restaurants, and it's literally a crime not to get waffle fries when you go there, in my opinion. Chick-fil-A actually has some decent, healthy options available on the menu. So let me talk about a couple that are my favorite. The first balanced meal that you could order would be a Cobb salad with a small waffle fry. Because remember, it's a crime not to get the waffle fries. I love getting the Cobb salad because it's a really balanced way to enjoy those Chick-fil-A nuggets that we all love. And if you remember back to our healthy meal formula a couple episodes back, you want to strive to have your meal be half non-starchy vegetables, 1/4 lean protein, 1/4 complex carbs, and about 2 tablespoons of healthy fat. Or for a macro breakdown of sorts, you want this to be about 25 to 35 grams of protein, 8 to 12 grams of fiber, and 45 to 60 grams of carbs. So I love getting the Cobb salad. This comes in at just around 66 grams of carbs, including the waffle fries in there too. So 66 grams of carbs, about 9 grams of fiber, so a decent amount of fiber, and 46 grams of protein. So this is definitely a balanced option. And my pro tip is to get the Chick-fil-A sauce as your dressing. Literally life-changing. And then another balanced option that you could get would be the deluxe crispy chicken sandwich with multigrain bread and a side salad. So this gets you about 57 grams of carbs, about 7 grams of fiber, so a little bit on the lower side, but still not too bad, and 34 grams of protein. So overall, pretty balanced, and you get those delicious crispy chicken sandwiches. I like getting the deluxe because they also put lettuce and tomato on it, so getting a little bit more veggies in there. And so then I'll just steal a couple of waffle fries from my husband, who's usually cool with it. And you may have noticed that I said the crispy chicken sandwich. So you could order the grilled chicken if you want to, but honestly, if I'm going to Chick-fil-A, I'm getting the crispy chicken sandwich. So, the choice is yours, whatever you prefer. I am going crispy chicken, though. And there's actually another really balanced meal that you could get at Chick-fil-A, and this is a cup of their chicken tortilla soup and a small fry. So this chicken tortilla soup is actually really impressive when it comes to nutrition because since it has beans in it, it's loaded with fiber. And so that cup of chicken tortilla soup along with that small fry to really give you, a good satiating meal comes in at about 74 grams of carbs. So a little bit over that 60 that I recommend, but not a huge deal. That's not bad at all. And when you look at the fiber of this, it more than makes up for it. So it comes in at 22 grams of fiber, which is insane. It's almost too much fiber, honestly. And I originally was going to suggest doing a bowl of chicken tortilla soup, but that was something obnoxious, like 30 grams of fiber. So 22, still a lot. So maybe if you're someone who has a lot of GI issues, maybe not the one for you. So 74 grams of carbs, 22 grams of fiber, and 29 grams of protein. So a solid balanced meal, and you get your Chick-fil-A fix. And I personally haven't tried the chicken tortilla soup, but I might be something I look into. I'm someone who I call myself a spice wimp. I am not good with spicy foods. So that's why, honestly, I haven't tried this yet. But if you have, let me know. I'd love to know if it's, one of your favorites. So now we're going to move on to our next restaurant. And this place, I honestly didn't like when I first tried it. I tried their signature dish and I was probably like 10 years old. And I thought it was disgusting. Like, I didn't understand how anyone liked this, and it was their bestseller. And now it's one of my favorites, and this is their orange chicken. Yep, I'm talking about Panda Express. And honestly, I've been really impressed with how Panda has been adding healthier options to their menu over the last few years. And this place is probably one of the easiest to follow that healthy meal formula that I talked about before. If you just get, their standard plate where you get a side and 2 entrees. You can choose the super greens for your side. That makes up the half of your meal, those non-starchy vegetables. And then you can get, honestly, whatever 2 entrees you want. So my favorites to get are the orange chicken and the mushroom chicken. I always get those. And this comes in right around 71 grams of carbs. So once again, a little over, but not too bad. 44 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber. So not the highest in fiber, but still not too bad either. And honestly, you can mix and match whatever entrees you like, and it's still going to be a pretty balanced meal. And now, the one thing I do like to do sometimes as well is I'll get for my side half the fried rice and half the super greens, because sometimes I just really want some fried rice, and that definitely ups the carbs quite a bit. So I usually don't eat the whole serving of fried rice either. I just have a couple bites just to kind of get my fix. So that could be an option for you as well if you really just want some fried rice. But Panda Express, another option that you can do. And I also want to say a caveat with this too. All of these are normally really high in sodium. Like, there's really no way around it. They're going to be really, really high in sodium, especially Panda Express. So this is why you don't want to do it too often, a couple times a week at most. If you can limit it to a couple times a month, that's going to be even better. But I know sometimes with busy schedules and things like that, it's, eating out's just the easiest thing sometimes. But I know with my clients, meal planning can be a huge way to help them to eat more meals at home and not eat out so much. And that's something that I help my clients with my one-on-one nutrition counseling. So I'll leave a link in the description if you want more information about that and just want someone to help you to figure out how you can not eat out so much so that you're not getting bombarded with all that sodium in your diet. All right, and now to the third restaurant. And this one is probably the most unhealthy on the list because there's literally like 0 veggies on the menu, but it's one of the most popular. So I wanted to include it just to give you some options. And this is McDonald's. And so their menu has essentially no fiber. But sometimes you find yourself at McDonald's for whatever reason. Maybe you crave it. Maybe it's just the easiest thing. It's the cheapest thing, whatever it might be. Sometimes you just find yourself at McDonald's. So I wanted to share a couple meals that you could do that are a little more balanced. The first thing that I'd recommend would be a double cheeseburger and a small fry. And so this is going to give you 65 grams of carbs. So pretty good with carbs, just a little bit over, that 45 to 60 that I recommend, but 65, not bad at all. 28 grams of protein, so a decent amount of protein, and a whopping 5 grams of fiber, which honestly, I was really surprised when I looked. Their fries, I think, give you like 4 grams of fiber in a small fry, which is decent. Another option that you could do would be the deluxe McCrispy chicken sandwich and some apple slices. So this comes in at about 52 grams of carbs, 27 grams of protein, and 2 grams of fiber. So really low on the fiber, which is unfortunate since there's apple slices in it. But since they're peeled apple slices, it doesn't have, the peel on it, which is where the majority of the fiber is. So lower in fiber, but what are you going to do? If you're just wanting something, a little bit lighter, those apple slices can be good. So this is just another option if you find yourself at McDonald's and you're wanting something a little bit more balanced. And honestly, any sandwich with a small fry is usually good. Like, you'd be good to go with that. The small fries, like I said, give you 4 grams of fiber, which is more fiber than anything else on the menu. So Don't diss those McDonald's fries, especially if you get them hot and crispy. That's a win. So that brings us to our fourth restaurant, and this next restaurant is probably one of the healthiest on the list, and it's one of my personal favorites because you can load up on the vegetables and the guac and queso are free. That's right, I'm talking about Qdoba. I know that Chipotle probably is a more popular choice and where people have gone to Chipotle and prefer Chipotle, but personally, I prefer Qdoba because, like I said, the guac and the queso are included, and they have cilantro, which I love piling on the cilantro on like Mexican, Tex-Mex type dishes. Let me know in the comments, are you team Chipotle or are you team Qdoba? Which one do you prefer? And so essentially, these tips can also be applied to Chipotle as well if that's where you prefer, but I like Qdoba, so I chose that one. Options you can get here, my go-to is to get a salad because it's essentially a burrito bowl with a huge pile of greens on the bottom. So you have, all the salad spring mix on the bottom, and then I get it with black beans. Usually I skip the rice. Sometimes I get brown rice if I want. Then I add the chicken, the fajita veggies, the queso, the pico, cilantro, guac, and then pickled onions. That's something that my husband turned me on to a few years ago, and it makes the dish so good. So I recommend the pickled onions on top. It's hard to get the exact nutrition breakdown of this entire thing because that would require a lot of math and deciphering through their website, but the beans alone give you 14 grams of fiber, so that's a solid amount. And I would guess that probably with the chicken and the beans, maybe like 30 to 35 grams of protein, and then carbs, probably like 40 to 50 grams of carbs. If you skip the rice, and if you include the rice, probably like 60 to 70 grams of carbs would be my guess. But the salad is a solid option that I love to get. Something else I like to get when I go to Qdoba as well is just the mini bowl. So it's like a burrito bowl that's a little bit smaller of a size. Sometimes I'll get the whole bowl and just eat half of it and then eat the other half at another time. But sometimes I just get the mini bowl, and with that, essentially the exact same things that I get with the salad, but I'll get the brown rice and I'll get some lettuce on top too. But that's a good option. And then usually when we go, we'll get the chips and queso to share because I love chips and queso and I can't go there and not get the chips and queso. So another reason why I get the salad is because then I know it's going to be lower in carbohydrates and I can still enjoy my chips and queso. Those are some great options for you when you go to Qdoba or Chipotle. And that brings us to our final restaurant. And this last one is definitely one that most people think of as having healthier options, but most people don't know that it used to go by a different name. So this restaurant was actually first called St. Louis Bread Co. because it originated in St. Louis. I went to grad school in St. Louis, so that's why I know, because some of the locals that I went to school with would just say, let's go to Bread Co. And at first I didn't know what they were talking about, but and so the restaurant I'm talking about is Panera Bread. Like I said, definitely a restaurant that has a reputation for being on the healthier side, having a lot of really great options, and it definitely can be. I mean, there are some that, could definitely be considered unhealthy. Some typical balanced choices that I like to go towards is like a half sandwich and a half salad, or the half salad and half soup. So those, you pick two options. Essentially just making sure you're picking a salad so you have a good amount of veggies in there. And then you can pick either a sandwich or soup, whatever you prefer. And these are usually going to give you about 7 to 8 grams of fiber, so a really good amount of fiber, about 50 to 60 grams of carbs, and about 30 grams of protein, depending on what you choose. So a really good option with all of those. And then another option you could do too is just doing a full salad. So you're definitely going to get a good amount of veggies in there. And most of the salads are going to give you anywhere between 30 and 40 grams of carbs, 30 to 40 grams of protein, and 6 to 8 grams of fiber. So really good balanced options with that too. And I know that all their entrees will come with a side as well. So like an apple or chips or a baguette. And usually what I do is I just save the side for later. Like I usually will get chips and just take it home with me and we'll eat them at a different time. Or if I'm getting the half soup and salad, I'll get a baguette because I like to dip my baguette in the soup. But you could, if you wanted to really up the fiber a lot more, you could get that apple for your side and that'll increase the fiber by about 5 grams. So huge boost in fiber by going with the apple. So Panera, definitely another really solid option if you're wanting to eat a little bit more balanced. Well, I hope you found these tips helpful. Hopefully this helps you to see that you don't have to completely avoid eating out. It can still be a part of your balanced diet. You just don't want to be doing it, every single day. But hopefully this gave you some good ideas for some balanced options the next time you're hitting the drive-thru or going to a restaurant. And so thank you so much for tuning in, whether on your favorite podcast app or if you're watching on YouTube. Remember to nourish yourself with grace, and I'll catch you in the next episode.